Hi guys, this is Mike and this is it. We have finally arrived at the big 12 amp shootout. If you know my channel, you might have seen that I actually made mini reviews to each and every one of those mini amps. So if there's one that particularly interests you, definitely go and watch that video. Because today we're focusing on two things mainly. How they sound in comparison to each other, plus what I think about them after almost 1 month of use. Plus, because I did promise it like 12 times, I will try to rank these from best to worst. But you know what, without further ado, let's actually start with the sound samples. And I recorded 5 different sound samples from clean to crunch to high gain, 3 of those with microphones and 2 by using the headphone outs of these amps. Again, if you find an amp to sound strange here, go and watch the individual review of it. Maybe your answers will be questioned there.
Whoa!
Maybe your questions will be answered there. Okay, enough with the talk, let's listen to the samples, and after that I'm going to give you my totally subjective ranking from best to worst, from worst to best actually, for dramatic purposes of these amps. So stay tuned and enjoy. Okay guys, welcome back. I hope you liked the samples. I hope you could get an idea of how these sound in the room here live. So now the part has come that I dreaded for like a month, the part where I'm going to tell you my ranking of these amps, and I have to tell you this was not easy. I went back and forth for a couple of weeks actually. By the way, I'm going to tell you one more thing. This is my individual ranking, right? These are my ears, this is my brain, this is my taste, my soul, my heart, my apartment, my LED lights. The point is, this is my list. Right? So if you don't agree, then it's not the end of the world. You will live, I will live, everyone will be happy. So here we go. Don't be offended, right?
Number 12. The Fender Mini 65 Twin Amp. If there was one word to describe the Mini 65, it would be dull. There really isn't anything particularly wrong with the sound it produces, but what comes out of the speaker is simply mediocre and uninspiring. The best thing I could say about this amp is that it's not too expensive and that the noise level is actually pretty good, until of course you hit maximum gain settings. But all in all, I feel that this amp is really nothing to write home about whatsoever, and that is why it is on the last place in my ranking. Number 11. The Fender Mini Deluxe. Everything I said about the Mini 65 is true for the Mini Deluxe as well. It's the same uninspired, plasticky sound that's neither particularly exciting or interesting. The only thing that is slightly better in comparison to the 65 is the clean sound. But even so, I don't see the point in spending this kind of money for something that is so basic. Next. Number 10. The Fender Mini 57 Twin Amp. A pretty stylish looking amp that has a nice, if very trebly, clean sound. The crunch and the distortion sounds are nothing to write home about, however, as they get pretty fuzzy pretty fast. Because it is so trebly, noise is noticeable even at clean settings and becomes pretty pronounced at higher gain. All in all, I feel there are far better options out there. Number 9. The Marshall MS4. The bigger brother of the Marshall MS2 shares a lot of the same traits as him. A very good clean sound, a pleasant headphone sound and very good value for your money. We also have reduced noise, it's still there but not as persistent as on the MS2, and double the watts. Unfortunately, it also shares the same downsides as the MS2, mainly there is no distortion sound to speak of. Personally, I'm also not fond of the form factor. I understand that it might be cool for someone that has a huge Marshall stack and wants a mini version of that, but playing on the couch or taking it outside feels kinda awkward. Number 8. The Danelectro Honeytone. This amp is definitely something for people that like the Danelectro brand or for people that are searching for something with a vintage flavor. In my opinion, both the clean and the distortion sounds are mediocre, hence just okay, and are definitely missing the sparkle of some of the other amps, but at least the crunch sound is pretty colorful. Also on the pro side is the very good headphone sound, the brilliant noise level and the price value proposition. Still, I'm not a sucker for vintage flavored gear, so that's why this amp is on rank number 8 on my list. Number 7. The Marshall MS2. A nice, cheap, stylish amp that is let down by two things mainly. First, it's pretty noisy at all settings, and secondly, it doesn't do any kind of distortion. The most you get is a slightly overdriven crunch sound, which is kind of a shame considering Marshall's legacy. Pros are the good headphone sound, the nice clean sound, and the fact that it's pretty cheap. Number 6. The Fender Mini Tonemaster. This amp is my favorite of the Fender amps, so if it absolutely has to be a Fender, it should be this one. I especially like the clean and the crunch sounds, although again, the noise level rises considerably if you turn in some gain. And as on the other Fenders, this amp isn't really made for high gain settings as it gets very fuzzy and noisy. Number 5. The Boss Katana Mini. On paper, the Boss Katana Mini seems like the perfect amp. No matter what sounds you dial in, from classic cleans to high gain settings, the Boss definitely delivers. The headphone output also sounds very good and the noise is barely noticeable either. The reason why I still didn't rank this amp higher is twofold. For one, this is the most expensive amp in the Shootout and I feel we are paying a little bit of a premium just for the Boss brand. The second reason is totally subjective. Just as with their bigger amps, to me, playing through the Katana Mini feels as if there was some kind of deep compression going on. It feels so sterile and slick, but not in a good way. I just miss the liveliness of my guitar. Plus, I'm also not that fond of the built-in delay. It never sounds as lush or simply good as it should. In my time with the Boss Katana Mini, I actually found out within an hour or so that this is not the amp for me, as I feel we have much better options still upcoming. Number 4. The Orange Mini Crush. This is an amp of two sides. I find the clean sound to be pretty mediocre, to be honest, as it sounds thin and never as sparkly and nice as it should. But man, everything with gain is like a dream come true. If you like that thick, juicy orange sound, that is. Because to my big surprise, they actually managed to put that signature orange distortion sound in this small compact box. If you want a mini amp and you want the most real sounding distortion, this is it. The downsides are the headphone output, which can be a little bit on the noisy side, and the price. This amp is on the more expensive side, but since it has a built-in tuner and even an output for another speaker cabinet, I actually do feel it's worth the money. Okay, before I tell you number 3, I'm first going to speak about number 2, which is the Yuer YS10E. This amp has an awesome clean sound and a very cool distortion sound. Also, the headphones out is very clean and good sounding. I also feel like this amp delivers a lot of bang for your buck. You essentially get a portable 10 watts amp that can be powered both by batteries or a power supply for give or take 40 bucks. Two things I don't like. First, it's one of those amps that has no noise at clean settings, but as soon as you turn in a little bit of overdrive, the noise gets amplified as well and can actually become pretty severe on maximum gain settings. And secondly, the tone control is pretty ineffective. It basically adds and subtracts a little bit of highs, but nothing more. But all in all, this is a cheap, pretty straightforward, no frills amp that sounds good and with its 10 watts delivers quite a punch. And now let's go back to number 3, which is the Joyo MA10E, which again is a pretty cool, straightforward 10 watts 2-channel amp that delivers on sound and price value. Clean and distortion sounds are very good, and it also has a very good headphone sound. In comparison to number 2 in my ranking, the Yuer, I would say it's a little bit more scooped, meaning it has a tad more bass and more highs and less mids. And unfortunately, it also shares the same noise level issues as the Yuer, almost unnoticeable on clean settings to pretty severe on distorted settings. I kinda like the Yuer more, as I feel it has a bit more character, but that's really just my preference. In reality, these two amps are on par with each other. And number 1 is, of course, the Blackstar Fly Free. This is it. This is my favorite amp in the Shootout and the one that I decided to keep. I love almost everything about it. I love how lively and real it sounds no matter the setting. I love how effective the one knob EQ is. I absolutely love its delay sound as it is dark and sits perfectly behind the guitar. And I love how 3D or stereo the sound seems to be, even though there is only one speaker built in there. As you can see, I wrote down very good in the first 4 categories, but to be honest, if you add in a little bit of that lush sounding delay, it definitely changes the sounds from very good to awesome. I also feel the higher price tag is definitely justified. The only thing I would wish for is a built-in tuner, especially for those occasions when you want to take your guitar outside and play around on the beach or something, but that's really just a minor complaint. And I can wholeheartedly recommend this amp to anyone interested in one of those small mini amps.
Right, so this is it. This is my winner. Absolutely love this thing. I don't know if it's true that this was like one of the first mini amps. Pretty hard to believe actually, because it seems so sophisticated when it comes to the sound. The delay is absolutely fantastic. It has just the right amount of distortion. It has almost no noise. It's small, lightweight, portable, easy to use. The emulated out sounds awesome. And it also has like the possibility to use a power supply and like an extension cabinet. So I guess I will try both of these things out. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, it will be interesting. Yeah, I will definitely try that out. A lot of cool amps in the Shootout, but you know, I just played it like 5 minutes ago. A lot of cool amps here, but this is the best. This is the best. No, I'm not endorsed by Blackstar. I didn't get this for free. Nothing like this happened. Conspiracy theorists, I wish Blackstar, call me. Yeah, call me. You can pay, actually. I don't care. Money doesn't stink. Money's not dirty. Right? Love it. Love it. Guys, let me know what you think about the sounds, about my opinions. I'm sorry again if I offended your feelings with my ranking. Let me know what you think. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit the notification bell. See you next time. Bye.
With 2 eyes.